October 29th, still, alright. Except for a few half-hearted attempts to get some kind of reaction from Isabella, the drive to BRC is a quiet, awkward affair, more so the hour-long wait for nightfall. Even with only the two of us, the place is rife with tense energy. Only a matter of minutes now. But the ticking seconds don't take away the edge, and for the 5th time, I reach out and fiddle with the radio, adjusting and turning the knobs with no real purpose. It's a nervous quirk I have developed and never bothered to correct during stakeouts. Something to keep my mind occupied during long nights. What else is there for me to do? The person I usually count on for a casual out-of-the-blue chat refuses my attempts at starting one.
Ash, out with it!
The way she quickly falters into silence after, in spite of the tone she takes though, it makes me doubt if she really means everything she's telling me right now. She hasn't even glanced my way since we arrived.
Having second thoughts? You can still back out if you want.
We're just going to my office. Why should I?
Dunno. You can get in trouble, maybe. This isn't exactly legal.
Scope BRC out, see if the real estate company has any information that may be of help. Finding things about Cooper and the other agents assigned to the Ermengarde mansion. According to Isabella, it's the last property the victims have worked on. Sure, I could also check the station for full reports. That's the easiest semi-legal way, but I don't want to bump it too safe right now. The guys at the precinct will definitely throw me out on his orders as soon as they see me. Not that my plan right now is any better. I'm just breaking into a different place, more or less, with a civilian to boot. The latter still doesn't sit well with me. It never will, especially if this might put her in a very tricky position afterwards. Since she's been very careful when it comes to her work. Almost a model employee, as people would say. Why is she throwing caution to the wind now?
I'm not an employee here. I'm not supposed to be looking for any confidential stuff. Only people like you are privy to.
If you mentioned earlier that this is your plan, I might have had enough time to think about it. I already promised to help if you need access to those files. I didn't think you'd want to see them this soon and in this way. Besides, the same goes for you, right? You were taken off your case. Won't you get in trouble with your boss?
Honestly, it's a toss-up between breaking into her office or into the Wright's mansion. As it stands, I'll have an easier time getting in here first. After all, why would someone want to break into a reality company? Been here many times before anyway, for a few casual visits when I wanted to bug Scaredy Cat. Over the years, I have more or less grown familiar with their security setup and how badly staffed they are. Plus, it's an old building. If the bankruptcy rumors are true, it just means their access protocols might also be outdated.
Still, I can do this on my own, you know.
Really? And how are you even planning to get into our office without an access card? Please explain.
Well, I was going to pry open the card reader and use a gecko.
You're a hopeless case. I really want to know why no one has locked you up yet.
Yet you're helping me with this. Willingly. I don't think that'll sit well with the Philippine embassy either. Chances are you'll probably get deported the minute they find out.
Low blow, I know. But it's worth a shot when she can still turn back. It's not like I don't have any means to get into the place. Hiccup. I don't know if you could hear that, but with or without her, I have a way.
At least I have a reason to be snooping about. My badge and rank can speak for me in case things go south. You?
For a passing second, it seems to work. A hint of panic and hesitation flashes across her features when she looks to me with searching eyes. Then, unexpectedly, it dissolves. Not behind the fear I'm anticipating, but underneath something sharp and searing. I'm not sure what she sees exactly or what she's hoping to find in the short while she holds my gaze. All of it merely goes unspoken, and no longer than a minute later, she simply averts her attention back to the window, training it once again at some point outside.
Isabella, please, now's not the time.
It's too late for that, Ash. Give it a rest.
An appeal, spoken in voice too harsh coming from her, perhaps unintentional, perhaps one that's already too exhausted of everything that's going on lately. It's hard not to concede when she takes on that tone, and soon, despite myself, I sigh, tucking away every concern I have been lugging around in favor of trusting her on this, according her the same confidence she has implicitly given me all this time.
All right, okay, if that's what you want. And don't worry, I didn't mean what I said earlier. I won't let anything happen to you.
Ship it. Her lips briefly turn up in a smile, though none of the cheer reaches her eyes.
Just get this over with, okay? Everyone should be out of the office by now.
Somehow, the uncertainty in her posture makes me wonder if she intended it as some kind of comforting gesture. Whether it's for me or for her, she doesn't let me find out. Without saying another word, she exits the car while I'm left scrambling and chasing after her. She's already up the side entrance, a hand raised on the card reader beside it and another poised to push the door open when I catch up to her. Whatever doubt there has been in her face a while ago, it's gone. Seeing her like this makes it easier to believe my worries are unfounded, that things might go smoothly this time.
And where do you think you kids are going?
Oh, crap.
It's late. Most offices in this building have already closed up shop for the weekend.
The bloke seems friendly enough, though one can't really tell from his voice alone. He might be the wary sort, for all I know. Keeping an unconcerned face and aloof air won't hurt until I figure out how to wiggle us out of this situation.
Just come back on Monday if you have important business.
But from the way Isabella's face brightens up, it looks as though getting through won't be too much of a problem. He's probably been working here for a few months already then. Maybe around 4 to 6 months max. Otherwise, he would have recognized Isabella or me at first glance. I haven't shown my face here since I have been assigned to the firm case a year ago. In the first place, none of their security officers ever lasted a year in service. The longest was around 7.5. I'll give this guy around that before he gets fired or finds a better paying job. For the moment, his too friendly attitude is almost a gift.
Hey, Seb!
Oh, look who we have here. Been a few days since I last saw that ponytail in here, Santiago?
Close enough!
Wait, don't tell me yet. I'll get it right this time. Sanchez!
You were closer the first time?
Drat. I swear it is on the tip of my tongue. I just need a hint to remember.
I take it back. This geezer is not going to last past this month. He can't even remember a regular employee's name.
Alrighty, I'm sure of it this time. Centillon?
Still a ways off, Seb.
Isabella, we don't have all night.
I know, just let me handle this. Sorry, Seb. Some other time. We're in a bit of a hurry. I just need to get a few things from my cubicle. Important work stuff, you know? Is it okay if we drop upstairs for a sec?
Oh, absolutely. No, go right ahead. As long as you have your access card with you, we're good. Not sure if I'm allowed to let your boyfriend in, though.
Who, me?
My what?
Your boyfriend. The guy with you, isn't he?
It's fair observation, if I do say so myself. Needless to say, the silence that descends is both uncomfortable and terribly awkward. Although the latter is probably coming mostly from me, because in the next second, Isabella laughs. Laughs. Lighter than the ones I've heard from her lately. A comforting sound, really, after seeing her in such a dour mood since this morning. Even as all of it subsides into mere chuckles sooner than I'd like. It's comforting to see that I'm at least partly responsible for it, despite my poor heart being beaten to sorry pulp. Aw, poor guy.
Oh. Oh, no! No! He's definitely not my boyfriend.
She might as well have set it on fire and reduced it to dust. Well, she's added. Frankly, the number of no's in that sentence alone is a bit too much. Christ, one would have been enough to get the message across. Does she really have to put it that way?
That's impossible! Stop being funny, Seb. I'll go on ahead, okay?
She quickly shuffles inside with nothing more than a small wave, leaving behind an even more awkward atmosphere for me to wade through. It would have been bearable if I didn't have to suffer through a stranger's amusement. Alas, woe's me.
Not the boyfriend, but close to it, huh?
Mind your own business.
He's blushing.
Kids these days.
How old are you?
Good to see her up and about, though. Thought for sure she'd up and disappear like the others.
Excuse me?
You know, stuff in the news.
You mean what happened with Rose Cooper?
If I'm going to be stuck here with him for a while, I might as well try to get as much intel as I can. He may just be a guard, or someone with no real authority, but most of the time, people like him are the ones who know more than they let on.
Yeah, but even before that, we've got a couple of good blokes we never saw again.
Really? Those guys could have just resigned for all you know.
Dunno, I only catch tidbits of stuff from over here. Oh, seriously, I heard the branch is getting flushed soon, but that's no excuse for anarchy. Figures why Boss Man's been in an awful temper these past months.
They managed to strike a good deal with the mansion in Anselm, right? That didn't do the trick?
Didn't seem like it. The bloke shouting like no tomorrow again. Wasn't very pleased when Gurley called and asked for another leave yesterday afternoon.
Girly? Isabella?
It's not too surprising, considering she's already been gone for 3 days. Now she's asking for another? Not that it's a bad thing, it's within her rights as an employee, but Isabella rarely uses her work leaves.
Yeah, poor lassie if you ask me. She found him a buyer for that mansion after all. The least you could do is be considerate to her after a family member's passing.
No. Oh, no, he did die. Her father, no.
Wait, what?
The rumors, BRC, Rose Cooper, missing in action employees, all of it ceases to matter in that instant. Almost an instinct, my eyes zero in on the intercom speaker, as if staring daggers at it will show me the man behind the voice so I can see the truth in his face myself.
Oh, you don't know?
No, what?
Nothing. I shouldn't be the one you're asking, and, you know, things might get a bit boring here. No one really wants to hear what a poor old guard wants to say. Why don't you just go after her? As long as you're not looking to create trouble for me, it won't be a problem. You aren't here for that, right?
He's lucky I'm not here to hurt anyone. If I were someone with ill intentions, he might not be smiling at the end of the day.
Well, no, but...
I'll go and unlock that side entrance for you then. Just don't forget to turn off the lights before you both leave, okay?
Hey, wait a second. What do you mean by...
He cuts off the connection before I can finish, and the rest of my question dies into my throat. Soon the latch clicks and the side door swings open. The Sabbath stout man, wearing a uniform still too loose for him, waves me over from the gap before he disappears behind his station again. Just my luck. Here I thought I'm going to have to count on whatever Isabella brings with her. Although, no matter how much I want to feel happy, something else has already taken a firm seat in the forefront of my mind. And is that why she's been acting like herself today? Since when? Of course, as I step into the building, I try to push all of these questions as far down as I can. I need to focus. Work is work. But if what I've heard is exactly what I think it is, if it's a sign of things to come, honestly, I don't feel too good about that. It's a quiet ride up to the 7th floor, where the BRC Luxborn main office is. Seb has been kind enough to switch the guest elevator's power on just as I'm about to head for the fire exit stairs, which is a welcome relief. I'm an active guy, but stairs, I don't want to tire out too quickly in case things get ugly. There probably won't be any trouble with the building this quiet, but you never know. I swear, the whole place definitely feels eerie at this time of night. But until I've confirmed anything, those are still just stories. Worst thing can happen. No need to scare myself. Staying calm means fewer mistakes.
Though I sure am fucking gutsy, especially with what I'm doing.
I'm breaking a lot of laws here. I'm also putting Isabella in a lot of risks. Best thing that can come out of this is that Isabella's right all along. Worst case scenario? 1, someone finds out Isabella's involvement in this and her boss fires her. 2, I find evidence that would implicate BRC or look right in a crime, and my meddling, if I'm not careful enough, makes it inadmissible in court. Though I'll be honest, I strongly prefer losing my job or facing right over some spirit or ghost or whatever it is. I could always work around the problems with the former. Isabella could also find a better job, but BRC never did pay her properly despite her efforts. But fighting off a phantom? How does one even do that? Do guns even work with them?
Yeah, not going to happen.
But tonight, I'm here to fix things. If I do it without leaving a trail, all the better. Good thing that's what I'm good at. Easy way in. Great. What I'll probably never be good at is finding the proper words when a sitch calls for it. But seeing Isabella's small form beyond those doors, how she pushes through despite carrying an entirely different burden this time, how she's pretending as if everything's normal, it's difficult not to try. People who never looked beyond her smiles will never know, will never understand. Hell, even Rebecca's probably not yet aware of this. I get it. We have other problems at hand. I've done the same thing plenty of times to protect myself, after all. But it's all in her eyes once she glances up at the few light raps I give the door. She wastes no time in leaving the mess of papers on the table and opening it for me, though even her confusion as she takes in my presence barely hides it.
Seb, let you in?
The rough edge in her voice rings a whole different tone now that I'm aware why. But knowing is different from hearing it straight from her, I can't simply bring this up, can I? It's not a topic suited for casual conversation, and I doubt she wants to talk to me about it. As much as I want to help, there's a distance between us I'll never be able to cross. One that wouldn't even be there if it wasn't for me. Perhaps if I had been more honest years ago and less of a coward, I might have been able to. Figures I couldn't even do that for the one person I keep telling myself that I care deeply about.
What can I say? I'm a very charming person.
To a rock, maybe.
This is as close as we can get to it, I suppose. The light banter, the fleeting glances, or sometimes the long bouts of silence. And it's enough. For me it is. Oh, no. No. The horror. For me it is, because even without words, there's comfort. With her, it's easy.
Must be a pretty cool rock then.
Ugh, get over yourself.
Hey now, I deserve some slack here. Today's supposed to be my day off, and yet here I am helping you out.
Helping? By standing at the door?
Well, you're not exactly letting me in.
Despite what she says, she moves to block me when I try to enter. She must have expected this the second we walked up the building's entrance and counted on the night shift guard to bar me from the place. It's reassuring to know she's somehow worried about me, although it's a bit misplaced at the moment. Besides, her concerns aside, I really can't let her get into the thick of things without me. Not with all of the problems on her plate right now. Okay, guys, I want some freaking relationship boosting. Because, I mean, okay, they're doing okay. But, I mean, come on. Come on. We gotta get them together. But priorities. Okay, fight the ghost, then get them together. Or, I guess, all the first thing is probably going to happen at the end. So, we'll see how this goes. Besides, her concerns aside, I really can't let her get into the thick of things without me, not with all of the problems on her plate right now.
Isabella?
Seriously, Ash, Seb might get in trouble for this. You might get in even bigger trouble with your boss.
And you're not? We've already talked about this back at Zach's. It's out of the question.
At least do it for Seb, please. He's a really nice guy. With the way things are going here, he's...
On that, I agree with her. Seb's not such a bad fellow. Might be a little careless with his job and talks too much, but he means well. I'd hate to see the guy leave here with a bad record in case something goes wrong. However, the anxious looks she shoots back the table behind her brings an even bigger worry. Oh, great. We're not alone.
Did you find something? Aside from what you told me about yesterday?
Not yet. I'm not sure. I haven't started going through the files we have in the records room. Just the ones they handed to me in rows.
Oh, okay. Okay, she didn't see the ghost.
Let me see.
Wait, Ash!
Isabella, I already promised you that no one's going to get in trouble after we're done here. Even Sep. I'll make sure we leave the place clean.
Her hesitation's still there, a split second of indecision as she tries to form an argument. Eventually, when nothing comes to mind, she steps aside.
Okay, but we can't take the original files out of this office, clear? Not even a single sheet. We'll just have to make a copy.
Don't worry, that's the plan.
It appears to reassure her. A nod, then shortly she gestures for me to follow. Passing the CEO cubicles, I can't help but take in everything in their office, a force of habit for the most part. As far as I know, BRC Luxborn used to own this whole building. Offices on several floors once upon a time, when real estate is still a lucrative business for the company in this side of the country. Then competition showed up and suddenly everything's not so good anymore. It only got worse as the years went by, or so according to the rumors. Now the branch is just this floor, despite what the huge sign in the building's facade says. And frankly, it's not too hard to believe when one looks at the state of this room right now. A number of desks have been cleared out. Personal mementos are scarce as if the employees have gone on an exodus. That'll be the downsizing, probably. Still worrisome though. Of course, I shake away all of this when Isabella starts handing me the papers she's been looking through. Focus, Frey. There's no point in whining or dwelling any longer on it. Whining? Not whining? Where did I get whining from? That's why we are here in the first place, to find out what the real deal is, the old-fashioned way. Isabella's presence is a whole other blessing too. I couldn't imagine how long this would take if I pushed going in here alone.
Is this everything? Where are the documents you mentioned?
Still locked up in the records room. Do you need them now?
Bring them here. Everything that has to do with the mansion's sale. Even those who worked on it during the renovations. The cleanup, everything. Including your mandatory sign-in sheets.
It's an odd thing to bring up, but at least it includes a laugh from her before she heads for the records room. She remembers. And no matter how weak the sound of it is from her usual ones, it's a welcome thing to hear. It reminds me that the Isabella I know is still in there. She returns minutes later with a thick stack of folders and binders. For the next half of the hour, we work in complete silence while we dig into everything compiled in the folders. Not an easy task considering how thick the whole thing is, but there's two of us. In fact, Isabella does most of the work, sorting the contracts, the employee list, and stuff we won't need into a neat pile. Just the files for the restoration alone makes up a stack of papers that's an inch thick. Third-party service providers hired by for the masonry, radiators, woodworking, plasters work, slate roofing, and a whole bunch of other things are well documented. Hell, every single contractor who worked on the project were listed individually, even if they were just there to do the plumbing. It's a high profile and high cost estate, alright. But with that scope comes the loopholes. It means plenty of room to hide something in, if there's something fishy going on. All I have to do is find a pattern, and it doesn't take long. Upon closer glance, despite the original owners shouldering the renovation costs, it'll be surprising if they manage to break even on the Ermengarde mansion. What with the additional expenses for the open house, the commission for their agents, and other overhead fees. At one point, the negotiations To get it listed under BRC's name almost broke down to some disagreement about the listing price. The owners wanted to be rid of it as quickly as possible while keeping the worth at a profitable level. BRC was insisting on a higher amount, double what the appraiser suggested. And this plus the rumor that their branch is closing? BRC Luxburn really is in the red, and the sale of the mansion could have easily been a desperate move to keep the branch afloat.
No wonder the final sale happened as fast as it did. Did you know about this?
No, they took it off our hands after I submitted the final documents for the sale. I didn't even know until I read this. I'm not sure if Rose did. I've only been given the key to the records room after she... Anyway, my point is, they've kept all the files from me. Rose was the one who compiled everything from our side. And even then, she was probably not aware of this. There's only so much they let us know. After that, they just told us to wait for our commission, and that the legal team would handle the rest. The rumors are true. Huh.
Seems so.
Sheesh. This place is just unlucky. Going bankrupt while the rest of this crap is happening. But this isn't what we're looking for. What we need is the who, the people aside from Isabel and Cooper involved in this business with the mansion, and the how they are now. We can't do much with the outside contractors. They won't be on file. The employee list, on the other hand. Even with 2 people working for the pile, the whole task still takes quite a while. It's a quarter of an hour later when we put down the papers with a sigh and move on to the clients upon Isabel's insistence. For that, the sign-in form from the open house comes in handy. What is it? What's funny? Something that gives me a laugh when I spied a fake name I wrote on one of the sheets. What did you write? Hannah Wright, Luke Wright, Richard Frank, Ventu, Ashley, Charles, Sikanos, Mercy Ty, Lauren Stiles, Madeline Williams, Beatrice Wild. Is he Charles, maybe? I don't know. Oh, Ashley. No, I don't. Ashley, maybe? I don't know.
Why'd I even pick this name? It sounds so lame.
What? Which one?
What name?
Nothing important. Just focus on those papers you have. We need to finish this soon, before Seb suspects anything.
It's gotta be Ashley. She snatches the paper away before the thought of hiding it occurs to me. Not that there's much secret in it, Isabella found me that afternoon anyway, but still.
Ash Lee?
I've been careless that day, tailing Luke right without confirming where they were headed off to. While the butler's terribly efficient in keeping the Wrights' engagements from the public eye, there are other ways if only I've given in the time of my day. In retrospect, I've been too eager, too impatient to find something that'll crack the case and be done with it. Maybe my failure goes as far back as the day of the open house, not during the party last night.
Yeah, well, I was pressed for time.
Seriously? Ashley? Were you even trying?
Oh, come on. You didn't even notice I was the one who wrote it down.
Of course I wouldn't. Only an idiot would use his real name.
It worked, though. Admit it. It's genius. Who would have thought, huh?
Wait, is this real? Wait, what? Oh, yeah. Are you serious? No, I'm afraid. Oh, but she meant like Ash. Lee. That's a Korean last name. Or surname. No, wait, what? Family name. Family name. She responds with a roll of her eyes, then drops the matter entirely by shoving the paper back to my hands. And he's Japanese, I think. We lapse back to our respective tasks afterwards, wordlessly skimming through everything. Read, set aside, get another one. Looking back at the sign-in sheet, I spot Luke Wright and Hannah Wright listed up top. Not that I don't know about them already, of course, but scanning through the list, a name immediately comes to my attention.
Madeline Williams.
Something wrong?
What I said about her.
Huh? No, just that I remember this girl listed here.
Okay. She frowns, moves her seat closer, and takes a careful read at the sheet. There's a long moment before she speaks up again, but from the way she tenses, she appears to be expecting the worst already.
What about her?
She was with me, in the group following Cooper, when we toured the upstairs part of the mansion, I mean. Rather loud one, especially when we took a peek into the attic. Kept talking about the ghost stories the whole tour.
Then, do you think she's...
She was reported missing 3 days after.
Oh. There was a ruckus at the precinct the day her family filed it. Threats were naturally given at the lack of progress days later. Desperate ones. Her family's willing to shell out all the cash they have just to find her, to no avail, unfortunately. Officer... I was thinking, no, I don't remember. I don't think Kylie's friend wasn't called Madeline Wright. She had 2 friends, I think. One was, I think, an Asian name. I don't remember what her friends' names were. Oh, shoot. Oh, well. Officer Benjamin has been in a bad mood ever since he spoke with them, but what can he do? What can we do? He's tired. He's tied. We are all tied. There's only so much we're able to do with everything that has been shoved into our hands recently.
She still hasn't been found. It's already been a week.
Isabella makes no further comment aside from a nod. Instead, she sits back on her chair with a distant look in her eyes, her hands balling to a face as she struggles with her frustration. Or maybe it's anger. But the moment doesn't last too long. Soon her grip loosens and she folds her hands back on her lap. Her expression, however, it's one I've seen too many times in the mirror. What does one say to a person burdened not by one loss but many? He carries it in her shoulders like a badge of shame. I've yet to find the answer to that myself. Until then, the only way is forward, press on to see where our attempts at fixing our mistakes might lead us. And despite my own doubts, a glimpse of that look on her face is enough reason for me. I can't just give up. There's too much at stake, too much to lose. With a renewed focus, I continue. On the third and last sheet, I spot another one. Beatrice Wilde. One I recalled from the newspaper obituaries. Died of a heart attack. A letter of correspondence expressing condolences to her family confirms as much in her files. Passed away at age 74 in her sleep.
She's at that age. It certainly could have been a natural death.
Right? I like to believe so. But 3 more letters turn up when I rummage through the stack, and it leaves nothing more than foreboding feeling in me. They're all addressed to families of clients who have passed away in the past week. Regardless, these go into the pile of things worth looking into after our visit here, along with William's info sheet. There are just so many names, so many faces, each one I've seen that day, and here I am wondering if they're all alright. It isn't a selfless thought that brings the question to mind. Rather, it's the logic that if more of them are still alive, the more people I can choose to question. Nothing's concrete yet, of course. There are just These are just speculations, but we're making progress. Once done with the signing sheets, I stash it along with a growing pile to my left and pull out as many of the other documents as Bella has already prepared for me. We're working through the employee list now, those who have been assigned to the mansion. Because if Isabella was to be believed, if what she's seen and what happened to Rose Cooper is because of that letter, I need to know everyone who has possibly read it aside from the 3 of us, if they've been noticing strange things too. For all I know, This may have just been a terrible coincidence. Although the thought of that starts to diminish as we dig into the BRC's company files. 50 minutes later, the stack close to my elbow has risen from the 5 to 21 different dossiers. Client and employee documentation, people who have either visited the open house or worked on the property in some capacity since the letter's discovery. Turns out there was 2 more employees who handled the mansion directly, aside from Cooper and Isabella. Christian Sai, the reality specialist, and Mark Julius John Mary, the estate appraiser.
This C guy, he was in custody just the other day.
Really? Sir John has been looking for him. He stopped reporting to work a few weeks ago. Are you sure it's the same person?
Yep, this is him. Folks at the precinct said they went to his house after a noise complaint. They found him just acting all crazy. Had to take him in when he started getting violent. He kept screaming about a woman.
Of course he did. Immediately she stiffens. I don't want to bring it up or imply a connection to Isabella's story, but that is exactly what happened.
It was driving the guards mad, but he didn't last too long in there. A few hours in, and he just started bashing his own head against the wall, and, well...
Jeez.
It was messy, to say the least.
Oh, no. We had no idea. Is he okay? HR just marked him as AWOL because none of their calls would get through.
He's in the hospital right now. I heard they're putting him into a psychiatric ward as soon as he recovers. He's still a bit unstable.
John Marie, on the other hand. His employee file notes his date of leaving and even when his final payment had been given. Along with it, there's a letter to his family about the appraiser being found dead in the office. Communication is hush-hush, and there's mention of a compensation if they don't talk about it to the media. Inspector Abigail has often scolded me for not reading the reports on a regular basis, but I try to keep up to date as much as I can. When I do, I make sure I'm aware of the gist of what's going on in my city. This has never reached the police's ears or the health and safety executed.
Do you know about this guy?
One glance at her says everything. They've hidden it from the media. They kept it from the police. It's not surprising this will also be a secret from someone of Isabella's positions in this company. Fuck.
Rose was looking for him. Last week. We haven't heard anything from him either. Until now. They never mentioned this to us.
Business going under and someone dies while working here? Of course they want to keep that quiet. It's bad publicity. This whole thing is just getting freakier by the minute. Nevertheless, I hand a file for Isabella to make a copy of.
The pages with their names, addresses, and contact numbers will do. We'll start with the ones who live within the city.
I mean, I guess it seems like the lady is cursing BRC because they are the ones who are selling the house to, because they're selling the mansion and she wants nobody to touch it, right? I'm assuming. But then again, she wants help, I guess? Or maybe that's just messing with people. But yeah. Or she just wants to be, discovered so that she can rest in peace because people would know about why she was killed and all of that stuff. I suppose that makes sense. But it's kind of mean to kill people, though. I don't recommend doing it. I really don't. Sometimes there are things you really can't just brush off as a mere coincidence. In my line of work, once a pattern pops up, it's only right to be suspicious. Especially the thing with Sai. It hits too close to the stuff my own friends have been telling me.
All of this?
It's considerably thinner than the one she brought in, yet somehow the way she hugs the folders close to herself makes it seem heavier. Like she's hanging on to it in the same manner one will latch on to a lifeline.
Only the noteworthy ones.
And those that might still be alive might. She doesn't need to know that.
We can't check the outside contractors, but the guys with the direct connection to BRC and the people who attended the open house should be enough. We don't have time to see how everyone's doing, especially if...
Wait. No, I thought it was done. I looked away, I looked at my other screen.
We don't have time to see how everyone's doing, especially if what you said is true.
Okay, good. For a second, she appears about... what? For a second, she appears as if she's about to argue, then quickly decides against it and hides it away before anyone reads the question in her face. Then, in a too abrupt motion, she turns towards the copier and gets to work. Soon, only the machine's constant thrums fills the air around us, while I keep myself busy cleaning up the mess we made. The lack of talk is awkward, to put it mildly, disturbing at worst. I've gotten so used to letting her just babble away whenever it's just the two of us. Right, so I just remember that there was an update and they had made it so that once your relationship status changes from now on, when you open it, it will say either plus or minus. So you don't have to really like just super keep in check with what the relationship was before. So you can just tell like, oh, okay, that decision was good, or no, it was bad for the relationship. But as we've already discovered, sometimes not building a higher relationship is for the better. That was the case for Marianne. I'm so sorry. Or, well, maybe I didn't really build a relationship. Now that I look at it, wait, I didn't actually, it's actually the same, but that was because I did some bad choices, I think. But I mean, not trying to build a relationship with some people. Yeah. Great. I feel so bad about that. Jeez. I hope she will survive. Hopefully they can like rescue her, because she's not dead at least. We didn't see her die, but she's going to need some waters and food soon, so we better hurry. Jeez. When was that day? When did that happen? Because she could already be dead for all I know. Oh. Yeah, timeline. Is it today, maybe? Might as well read this while we're at it. To confirm their suspicions, Isabella helped Ashton break into the Briar Reality Corporation's Luxborn office that night. There, the files they found revealed the real deal with the mansion sale that was unknown even to Isabella, and something possibly more terrible. Wait, what? Have I discovered that yet? Okay, we'll see. She died. Okay, she didn't die. What am I saying? I'm sorry. I'm not going to curse this. Okay, don't jinx it. Like, let's not. Okay, so she's been there for 1 day now. Okay, hurry, find her, please. Please help her. Okay.